A serial argument is when an argument in a romantic relationship goes beyond a single episode of One and Done. There are multiple occasions that the same argument comes up and no resolution is met. Non-serial arguments, on the other hand, are arguments that occur one time and a resolution is met and both sides of the dyad are satisfied. My name is Sebastian Wanzelak and I'll be presenting on conflict styles and rumination, romantic, serial, and non-serial arguments. Individuals reporting on serial arguments will experience more rumination than individuals reporting on non-serial arguments. Rumination is unhealthy, dark, and serial arguments tend to drive people toward rumination. Communication in a dyad is essential, and once one can learn their conflict style, each person can do what they need to do to be able to communicate effectively. I'll be discussing these three areas: the summary of the conflicts, the specifics of the research, and the outcomes I had with my girlfriend in applying these new skills. Now let's get right into my first main point: conflict styles and usage in serial and non-serial arguments. The title of this article is An Exploration of Topics, Conflict Styles and Rumination in Romantic, Non-Serial, and Serial Arguments, written in 2014 by Bevan, Hefner, and Love. Bevan, Hefner, and Love researched the possible differences of serial and non-serial romantic argument topics, conflict style, and rumination. Participants, who are required to be in a relationship of 2 or more years, were asked to report on serial or non-serial arguments. The topic that this study relates to is managing interpersonal conflict. The specific name of this concept is known as conflict style and rumination in romantic, serial, and non-serial arguments in Chapter 9 of our textbook. Conflict style is the approach that one takes to confront an interpersonal conflict with others. We learn our conflict styles from our parents or guardians at a young age and tend to stick with that conflict style unless a new one is learned. Rumination is the process of continuously thinking about the same thoughts, which tend to be depressing and sad. Serial arguments consist of argument episodes that tend to be between 2 and 5 episodes, while non-serial arguments are defined as happening in one interaction and do not come up again. Now that we have covered my first main point, conflict style and rumination, let's move on to the specifics of the study. The hypothesis of this study is as follows. People undergoing serial arguments will encounter far more rumination than those individuals reporting on non-serial arguments. The findings of this hypothesis are that individuals reporting on non-serial arguments experience much fewer disagreements in rumination than individuals reporting on serial arguments. The first research question of this study is, will argument topics differentiate whether the argument is serial or non-serial in nature? They note that some romantic argument topics can, quote, be inherently more difficult to discuss and resolve than other topics. For example, any conflict topic could increase to a serial argument such as money, jealousy, sex, and personal flaws of an individual in the dyad. These topics, along with others, are correlated to intensity, difficulty, and frequency. They found that the argument topic did not change whether the argument was serial or non-serial in nature. The second research question asks, will the usage of conflict strategies, avoidant, disruptive, and integrative strategies change based on if the argument is serial or non-serial? The findings for the second research question include that individuals in non-serial arguments use integrative communication less and disruptive communication more than those in serial arguments, who also tend to ruminate more, meaning that the hypothesis is supported. Now that we have covered the hypothesis, research questions, and findings, let's move on to my final main point. The relationship I chose is my current relationship with my girlfriend. We have known each other for 6 years and have been together for almost 10 months now. The specific communication issue is how we use our conflict styles and how they are different from each other, meaning we handle situations differently. Personally, I tend to use more of an assertive conflict style. This means I like to communicate my own feelings and make sure that they are understood, but also taking in a lot of consideration for the other side so we can come to a resolution that fits both of our needs. My girlfriend, on the other hand, tends to use an avoidance and passive-aggressive conflict style by using nonverbal cues to try to show me how she is feeling, by trying to make me possibly feel sad, guilty, or confused by not actually communicating how she feels directly. The verbal and nonverbal changes I made are, instead of pushing my own feelings hard toward my girlfriend, which could almost force her to be avoidant and passive aggressive, I will do a perception check for my own understanding. I can use a calm voice and look at her in the eyes. Once that happens, I can give her her own space and time to think, and we can come to a resolution then. I expect a very positive outcome. By coming to a win-win resolution, it is not possible for a non-serial argument to become a serial argument because the resolution benefits both sides and feelings of the argument are understood and taken into account with both individuals in the dyad. In conclusion, serial argument participants experience additional rumination than non-serial arguers. Serial and non-serial conflict topics do not differ. Rumination is unhealthy and does not benefit anyone. Communication within the dyad is key. In not understanding each other's conflict styles, communication will be very hard. Today, I summarized what romantic, serial, and non-serial romantic argument topics are, conflict styles, and showed how I can apply this material in my own relationship with my girlfriend. Thank you.